Today on
Doomed!
What a week it's been since we last had a show, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, the last episode was entirely about the Maryland man who was wrongly deported by the Trump administration and sent to a El Salvadorian prison. And just a day or two after that episode, Senator Chris Van Hollen goes down there, meets with him, and now a whole bunch of Democrats are going to meet with people who are wrongly being held by ICE or already have been and have already been deported or waiting deportation, I should say. Let me put myself up on the screen here. Give me 1 second. Hello, folks. How are you all doing today? Welcome to the show. Welcome to Doomed with Matt Binder. Today's live stream, we're sure going to be doing a whole bunch of stuff because this was a busy week. And I just mentioned one thing in the intro. Let me get to the rest. Easter Sunday, J.D. Vance is in the Vatican City. Is in the Vatican. Meets with the Pope. The next day, Pope Francis dies. What? I know the memes were all over the place. J.D. Vance killed the Pope. We'll talk about a little bit about that. We'll talk a bit about Pope Francis. It was WrestleMania weekend. Obviously, I mentioned it was Easter. It was WrestleMania weekend, and the WWE accidentally went full-blown MAGA. I don't know what's going on over there. People thought the company would be better without Vince. Oh boy, I don't think anyone prepared for Dana White and company to take over. We might be worse off than when we had Vince running the show. What else? We have this is personal for me. The number one team in all of baseball as of today, April 23rd, 2025. Never thought I'd see the day, folks. It's early in the season, but still, you got to take your wins where you can get them. The Mets are the number one team in baseball. They have the best record in baseball right now. Incredible. But don't talk to me about NYCFC in the MLS. They're blowing it. All that and much more. Zoe in the chat just called me out for saying WWE accidentally went MAGA. No, but I think this is actually very, very weird. What happened? We'll talk more about it. Jay Lastre in the chat says Sam Cedar was also on vacation, so it might have been one of those assassination missions. Oh, right. Whenever Sam goes on vacation, someone of great importance usually dies, right? Right. What else? There was so much that happened this week. Oh, Tesla sales of Teslas are down 70%. The protests are doing it, folks. These anti-Musk, anti-Doge Tesla protests might be the most proactive, successful protests of all time. I mean, I was handing it to I would love to see it. Even before this, it was just great to see in general. Just as a protest, it was fantastic to see people protesting Musk, protesting outside of Teslas, getting to the point where celebrities who own Teslas felt like they needed to get rid of them. The New York Times doing profiles of just random Tesla owners. And, usually the New York Times finds someone of means, but not someone famous, but someone, who's, wealthy, but still. A rando interviewing people saying, oh, I don't want my Tesla anymore. I'm not going to be driving around in that. I'm getting rid of it. 70%. What should we start with? There's so much. There's so much. As I mentioned up top, Senator Chris Van Hollen went down to El Salvador, and uh, uh, he met with Abrego Garcia. And the big kerfuffle there, the big controversy there is that Bukele set it up so that when they met, it looked like they were like enjoying the wonderful, tourist attractions of El Salvador. He had them like sitting poolside in the sun, and according to people who were there, they one of Bukele's aides went over with 2 cups with like salt around the cup, and like a lemon or a cherry or whatever, and they put them down on the table, and they took photos, and Bukele shared them out saying, "Oh, look, Abrego Garcia and Senator Van Hollen enjoying margaritas in El Salvador." It's like, give me a fucking break. First of all, listen. I'm not. You all know I'm not a drinker. I don't drink. I'm straight edge like CM Punk, who had his big WrestleMania moment this weekend and finally headlined WrestleMania. And credit to the WWE, they put together a wonderful video package that got me a little misty eyed, showing CM Punk from his first match in WWE with his old theme song playing in the background. Oh, it got me right there. He's my favorite wrestler. Anyway, so so I don't drink, so I'm no expert in what the fancy alcoholic beverages are supposed to look like. But I have seen what margaritas look like. They're a pretty popular drink where people order them quite regularly. So even if you're just at a restaurant or a diner or whatever, you see people, especially if you're on vacation, drinking one. Um, it honestly looked like a glass of water with like a a uh a fruit, what is it called, like the little fucking like show or whatever. um I didn't even know they were supposed to be margaritas. They did not look like margaritas because it was just very clearly a cup of water with salt on the rims and fucking the fruit, the lemon or whatever. Ridiculous. And you had the right sharing that shit. Oh, look, everyone thought Abrego Garcia was at a labor death camp, and he's actually hanging out by this. Please, it was all set up for a photo. It was all a propaganda photo op. The whole point, though, and I'm glad he did it, Senator Van Hollen went over there, got to see that Abrego Garcia was alive, proof of life, which was super important. And from my understanding, they've moved him out of the I think it's called CCOT, right? That horrible prison, to a slightly better prison with slightly better conditions, I guess, because of all of the the press around this. It's ridiculous. And now you have Democrats visiting other people who have been wrongly detained by ICE. You had congressional Democrats visiting Mahmoud Khalil and I'm gonna mess up her name. I'm so sorry. Rumesa Ozturk, from the young woman who was basically abducted in Massachusetts. You had a Rep. Troy Carter of Louisiana, Rep. Benny Thompson of Mississippi, Rep. Ayanna Presley of Massachusetts, and Senator Ed Markey of Massachusetts going to Louisiana to check on them, to meet with them, make sure they're okay. And then you also had who is that? You had Vermont Senator Peter Welch meeting with that Palestinian student, Mohsen Madawi, who was the one who was going for their meeting where they thought they were going to become a citizen, and instead it was a trap set by ICE. That's how far along he was in the whole process. Where he went, he knew that there was a scenario where ICE would pick him up, but he also said that there was a chance that this was the meeting where he would become a citizen, so he would be going, even knowing that it was potentially a trap set by ICE, and lo and behold, that's what it was. But you have Vermont Senator Peter Welch going to check on him, make sure he's okay, meeting with him. I mean, Van Hollen really did something very important here, and it sort of set a bar for others to do the same, and I think that is very important, and it's commendable. And, you have the Trump administration and the right trying to and Bukele joining them to try to paint it as him visiting an MS-13 gang member terrorist, and that's what Democrats care about. It's bullshit. People see through that shit. People see through that shit. I mean, of course, the MAGA faithful eat that shit up, but I would say the majority of people see through that shit. Even as little as I think of sort of people's media literacy and understanding of what's going on, I think the majority sees through that shit. In fact, I saw a poll recently where Donald Trump's one issue where he was still polling positively, immigration, he has now finally hit negative numbers. And what has happened? Stuff like this. This is why he's hitting negative numbers now on that too. His main issue, his golden goose, he's polling negatively on this now. I mean, shouldn't be surprising if you're, if you're super plugged in, like, I am, and a lot of the viewers here are. But maybe for some people it is surprising for the broader public. But also I think it was so overtly wrong and over the top. Like, he really took full advantage. The administration really took full advantage and went overboard here, honestly. And I think the people saw through it. I mean, the idea that, first of all, they're sharing this photo of Abrego Garcia, claiming his tattoos are MS-13. And what are these tattoos? The tattoos are literally like, just like finger tattoos of like, uh, I don't remember, like a skull was one of them, and like a leaf was another. It's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. And they put MS-13 on his hands, so people would think he also had like MS-13 tattooed on it. Now, at first, I thought they did that to sort of try to decipher the graphic tattoos, like the images that were actually tattooed on his hands. But then Trump is literally saying in the image that he shared, look, he has MS-13 tattooed on his fingers. So either they were trying to do that and Trump misread it, or they're trying to fucking falsify it. It's just really incredible stuff. But it's super important that Van Hollen went and met with Abrego Garcia. And I hope Democrats continue to push on this issue. It's a winning issue. I know the centrists and the Democratic consultants were fighting back, saying this is not a bread and butter issue. This is not a kitchen table issue. Don't bother with it. Bullshit. Bullshit. People saw right through. And I think on top of it, some of the cases we're hearing of European tourists or even American citizens, U.S. citizens, being detained by ICE. There's a case, I think it was in New Mexico, right? Or Arizona. 19-year-old boy, young man, whatever you want to call him, a 19-year-old young man was visiting family, and he got lost, and he was walking around, and he passed by like a border patrol agent, and the border patrol agent asked to see his papers, and he didn't have his ID on him, so they took him in, and then his family found out what happened to him, and Border Patrol claimed that he was an undocumented immigrant and they needed to deport him, and the family brought his birth certificate and his ID to prove he wasn't, and they didn't care, and in total, he spent 10 days behind bars, 10 days in prison. And apparently, he's a disabled individual, and he just went to the hospital because he was sick, and they basically grabbed him up off the street right after all this. 10 days being held by ICE or Border Patrol, whatever. 10 days. U.S. citizen. This is not right. And even if you were someone who does think that we should have a stronger immigration policy and stronger borders or whatever, I would say the majority of those people who aren't like the right wing fascists, they even think this is over the top. This is not how it's done. There's a way to do things, and this is not the way to do it. I mean, you had students who were here on visa being told to leave. Their visas were pulled, revoked, literally told to get out of the country right away, and they had to go through the court system. It's ludicrous. It's ludicrous. All right, so let's talk about the Pope. The Pope. The Pope. The Pope. Well, and there's a bunch of different popes that popes. There's a bunch of different cardinals that are currently being discussed. Hold on, I had a graphic here to pull up some of them. So I don't know if you've seen the movie Conclave. I actually recently saw it, like right before the Pope passed away, like a week or two before the Pope passed away. It's a good movie. It's about the process that the Catholic Church goes through after a Pope dies. And they do this voting system where the cardinals get together. You have to be a cardinal, like good standing or whatever, under the age of 80, which is amazing that they do that. People only cardinals under the age of 80 can vote, I guess, because the idea is that they're going to be around to deal with the consequences of that pope. Interesting thinking there. And where's that graphic I had of the different pope candidates? This is a good one. This one's not the best one, but here's a good one. And so they go through this process where the cardinals get around, they vote for who they think should be the next pope on paper ballots. The ballots are counted and then immediately burned. And if no one has an outright majority, I forget what number they have to get to. But if no one has that, then they do it again and again and again. The same process. They vote. Paper ballots. The ballots are burnt. No one gets the majority. Come back tomorrow, do it all over again. It's an interesting process. The movie was really good. And apparently, how it's portrayed. While the movie obviously has dramatized storylines, it's a fictional, movie. The process, apparently, from my understanding and my reading of articles, the process as it's portrayed in the film is very accurate, like how it's done. And honestly, it looks kind of fun. Like all the cardinals come and they spend 3 weeks at the Vatican, little vacay, a little hangout with all your cardinal buddies that you maybe don't see every often. Just they're about to have it's like the Olympic Village for cardinals minus the sex, or at least I suppose minus the sex, but who knows really, right? Oh boy. All right, let's listen, I've been a Catholic long enough to make those jokes, okay? So let's bring up and I will say this. Listen, Pope Francis. Obviously, he is still the leader of the Catholic Church. But Pope Francis was again, like I would bring up Biden. The bar for presidents is low. The bar for popes is low. I mean, the pope before him, Pope Benedict, was pretty conservative. Pope Francis was a good progressive pope. Obviously, he still spoke out against abortion, and he still had some moments where he used homophobic slurs. Although, honestly, I wasn't so much sure if that was the Catholic in him or if it was the Italian in him when he did that. Uh, um, but listen, he welcomed the LGBTQ community. He said uh, the church should welcome same-sex couples, same-sex married couples, even though they wouldn't obviously observe the marriage. He welcomed divorced families, divorced people. He was an advocate for the poor strongly. He was pretty economic. Like when it came to economic issues and class issues, he was very progressive. On social issues, he was progressive for a uh, a leader in the Catholic Church. Let's put it that way. You know, it's what you can't expect the Catholic Church to change overnight. Um, he did meet with trans people, Zoe. He apparently did regularly meet with the from what I understand. Again, he's not going to advocate for this. But I recall um yeah, he said bad things about gender. You know, you expect him to say that. But from my understanding, he met with and had like dinners with, again, this is all, if we were talking about a politician, this is shit. For a pope, he was a step in the right direction. Listen, I'm not even I don't even go to church. I don't consider myself a Catholic anymore. I don't even believe in God. I have no reason to not say the Pope sucked. I'm just saying, as a Pope, he was a step in the right direction. Right, by gender ideology, he was referring to trans people. I mean, start right, right. Yes, the conservatives in the church, the ones who actually are beloved by like the right wing, like here in the U.S., right wing Catholics hated Pope Francis. You have to understand that. Like they thought he was the Antichrist. Like you had like he would literally go to war with some American cardinals who would speak out against his beliefs. And to make sure the church didn't go backwards, he actually installed so many cardinals with his line of thinking, preparing for the moment he would die and concerned that the church would take that step back from the direction he was taking it. To ensure that it didn't, he actually put so many cardinals in who have varying degrees of his line of thinking in there. So almost assuredly, the next pope, there's a possibility the next pope might not be as progressive. Again, progressive for a pope as Pope Francis was, but he is not going to be a right wing conservative, from my understanding. Um, Again, you have to sort of, there's asterisks here. Pope Francis was not like a progressive as we come to understand it. For a Catholic priest, cardinal, or especially the fucking pope, he was a progressive pope by the standards of the Catholic Church and how some Catholics, especially in the US, want the church to go in the direction that's the opposite of the direction Pope Francis was taking. We're not gonna have a pro LGBTQ pope. We're not gonna have a pope that says abortions are good and same-sex couples should get married in the we're not in the church. We're not going to have that. The church is not there yet. A lot of Catholics are, obviously, but the church is not there. So with that said, like you have to look at this like how we look at like establishment Democrats who are in power. Like how I looked at Biden. In fact, I would say the Pope is a more savvy politician than Biden because the Pope made sure to basically pack the courts, the Catholic Church version of pack the courts, to make sure that his vision continued on. I mean, in many ways, we should hope the Pope was a Democratic politician in the U.S. because at least we would have had someone savvy in charge who would have made sure that whatever progress was made, things continued to go in that direction. So there you go. Also, we should say this, and this was left out of a lot of the mainstream obituaries for Pope Francis. From my understanding, Pope Francis had nightly calls with the cardinal in Jerusalem to check on the situation there, to check on the Palestinian people, to get daily updates on what was happening in Gaza. He frequently spoke out for the people in Gaza, for the people in Ukraine. He frequently spoke out for the marginalized people. In fact, I believe his very last prayer on Easter Sunday, he specifically mentioned ending the war in Gaza, in Ukraine, and in Sudan. I mean, again, listen, if we were talking about progressive politicians, if we were talking about allies on the ground, we would want better people than Pope Francis. But in the big picture, we got to take some people like this as an ally. And he was, in my opinion. I mean, he spoke out regularly in not even coded words against Donald Trump and his Donald Trump's views on immigration. He would constantly speak out about welcoming migrants and immigrants. He was consistent about that. He got political, whereas other popes, at least in my lifetime, I've seen I think two of them, would not have. I think that's important. You got to take what you can get. And from my understanding, again, did he speak out for trans people? No, but from my understanding is he met with trans people. He blessed them. There's priests and cardinals and leaders in the Catholic Church who absolutely would not do that. Again, you got to take what you can get with the understanding of this is where this specific thing is at. And eventually you'll get someone good, even better. So we're looking at potential popes. And this is one graphic I found of some of the choices. Some of the ones who people believe are going to be picked. And so, from my understanding, the two best case scenarios, and Pizza Bella or Pizza Balla, the cardinal from Jerusalem, he's not on here. Apparently, he's pretty good. But from my understanding, the best case scenario is either Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle or Tagle, I'm not sure, or Cardinal Matteo Zuppi. Those are our best case scenarios. Um, and I came across this video of Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle, who's he's from the Philippines. He'd be the first ever Asian pope, from my understanding. Tagle. Thank you, Stephen. It's Tagle. And apparently he is very progressive. And he was a favorite among Pope Francis. And if I'm understanding correctly, he would be even more progressive than Pope Francis. And this video I found of him is a very good sign. Let me play this. It's very to hear a current cardinal talk like this, let alone a Pope contender, is certainly a heartening thing. Let's play this clip.
How many?
It might be kind of low. I'm gonna try to raise the volume as much as I can, but here we go. Let's play this. Where am I in this clip? All right, it's very important. I'm here, obviously. I'm the main event here. I should be Pope, honestly. From my understanding, any male Catholic can technically be voted as Pope. It's just that they usually go with the cardinal, obviously. But any male Catholic. So I'm gonna throw my hat in the ring. Technically, I'm Catholic. I'm sure they don't mind that I'm a non-believer, but technically I am. I was baptized. This Jewish Catholic here, this non-believer Jewish Catholic here, I'd make an amazing Pope, honestly. I'd bring people together. I'm the living embodiment of that coexist bumper sticker. Let's play this clip of Tagle, Cardinal Tagle.
Factory workers.
It is very low. I'm
How
sorry,
many
but just listen
factory
closely. Put your headphones all the way up if you can.
How many factory workers are being denied the right wages for the God called prophet? How many women are being sacrificed to the God called domination? How many children are being sacrificed to the God called lust? How many trees, rivers, hills are being sacrificed to the God called progress? And how many poor people are being sacrificed to the God of greed? And defenseless people sacrificed to the God of national security.
Oh, thanks, TikTok. I mean, that's pretty damn good. I mean, you got the economic issues, you got the environmental issues, you got the class issues, you got marginalized groups. He mentioned women in terms of how they are marginalized specifically. I mean, this is pretty damn good. Also, the way he phrased everything was pretty fucking metal too. the god of greed, the god sacrificed to the god of greed, the god of lust. It's pretty good. Bay photo of Bernie Sanders was a pope, right? I mean, it sounded very much like a Bernie speech, but in religious, Catholic religious tone. Cthulhu Hoop says, "Bro got me doing signs of the cross." Right? I mean, listen. Zoe, Zoe says he lost me at saying lust is bad. Was specifically talking about like children, and for that one, Zoe, he was specifically talking about kids for that one. I think you missed that part. But yeah, I thought that was pretty damn good. Bad Idea Society says the only thing that matters is the god of woke video games. Right. I mean, listen, I just want a pope that continues in the direction that Pope Francis was taking the church. That's not the end game. That was a small, in the bigger picture, I actually think a pretty big, for the Catholic Church, a big step in the right direction. And, they're not even 10% of the way there. Let's put it that way. So, I think this guy I'd be good with. This is sort of a little flat, I guess. Tastes fine though. It's not a vase, it's a skull cup. It's a skull glass. um what else did I talk about up top? We got uh, uh Democrats meeting with people being held by ICE. Good. We got the death of Pope Francis and potential cardinals. We got let's do this. Let's do this. Where is it? Hold on. Let me find this. Where is it? Okay. So Tesla had its first earnings report since the Trump era. And this is a company that was absolutely feeding off of the market highs after Donald Trump was elected in November with the belief that Mr. Business President was going to be good for business. We all know how that went. The business world, Wall Street, is learning the hard way. They fucked around and found out. But this was Tesla's first earnings report. There had been many reports, some that I had covered for my work, that Tesla sales were plummeting, that sales overseas were even worse. In countries like Germany, Tesla sales plummeted by 76%. In Australia, for example, it was upwards of 70%. There had been numerous reports of Tesla trade-in volume being at all-time high, Tesla owners looking to trade their cars in. The used car market for Teslas were at all-time highs. The Tesla stock on the aftermarket, the used car market, were at all-time highs. And as a result, the going rate for a used Tesla were at all-time lows. There had been reports of Tesla turning down Cybertruck owners who wanted to trade in their Cybertruck because they just had too much Cybertruck stock. And now we have the earnings report. Tesla sales for the first quarter of 2025 are down 70%. 70%. 70%. And here's a little nugget of information here that you might not know. So, a huge portion of Tesla's profit is with regulatory credits that the company receives for selling electric vehicles. For manufacturing and selling EV vehicles, Tesla vehicles, Tesla receives carbon credits from various governments, the EU, the US, certain states like California. And what they can do with those carbon credits is sell them to other companies who aren't hitting those same, carbon emission guidelines, for example, in order to offset that amount that they put out there. And as a result, they get credited as well. But those companies have to pay Tesla for those carbon credits. Again, these are credits that Tesla receives just for making and selling Teslas. So they get them for $0 because they're still selling the Tesla to someone. So they get their Tesla profit for the actual vehicle from the individuals they sell them to. And then on top of that, they get these carbon credits at no cost to them, which they in turn sell to other companies at 100% profit. In the earnings report, so Tesla's total net income for Q1, according to the earnings report, was $409 million. To give you an example, the previous quarter, the Q4 for last year, their profit was somewhere around it was a lot more. Let's put it that way. I think almost double, maybe more. I think it was more. But of that $409 million, that was Tesla's total net income for the quarter. But their earnings from regulatory credits, carbon credits, was $595 million. Again, this is $595 million that they make because governments give them these credits. This is like a welfare program for companies who create like zero carbon emissions or low carbon emissions. So let's really work this out here. Okay, so Tesla's net income was $409 million. Of that $409 million, they made, let's put that aside. So now from the carbon emission credits, they made $595 million. So I'm doing the math. That means that Tesla would have posted a loss in Q1 of this year if it wasn't for those carbon credits that they sell to other companies. They would have been negative $186 million. Negative $186 million loss in the first quarter of this year. We're literally like keeping Tesla profitable. The U.S. government and the EU and the various states are literally keeping Tesla profitable because they didn't sell enough cars to be profitable this quarter. The only reason they posted a profit this quarter is because of those carbon credits. People should know that. I don't think a lot of people caught that. And, the reason Tesla is in the shitter is because of Elon Musk. And people tying Tesla to Elon Musk and Elon Musk's actions, his Nazi salute, his support for Trump, his funding of Trump's campaign, his help in electing Donald Trump, his continued campaigning and putting his thumb on the scale during various elections for Republicans, his involvement in the Trump administration, his involvement with Doge, his involvement in cutting federal programs, his involvement in firing federal workers. This is why Tesla's doing bad. And apparently, reportedly, Musk is promising investors in Tesla that he's going to step back next month and not spend so much time doing government projects. He wants to obviously save Tesla because he sees the way this is going. He really thinks he could just wipe his hands, step back, and say, my bad. All right, everyone, buy Teslas again. I'm not working with Trump as much. Don't let him. Don't let him. It is important that we don't forget because the reverberations are here. The loss in medical funding, in medical research funding, the loss in aid to developing nations. People have already died. Children have already died as a result of U.S. aid to developing countries being cut. This has already been covered. This is already news. This has already been reported. People have died as a result of Elon Musk's cost-cutting actions. Cost-cutting actions, I should say, that hasn't done anything to reduce the debt, which was the whole point of this. The debt's rising because the Republicans keep spending to give money and tax cuts to their very rich, wealthy buddies. Don't let them. Don't let them. All right. What else? I want to make sure we touch on all the big stuff that I think we should touch on this week. WrestleMania. You know what? Then maybe we should say that for a separate episode. But it was WrestleMania. I'll touch on it briefly. It was WrestleMania this past weekend. And I don't know what the hell they were planning in the lead up to WrestleMania. They were all over the place with the press trying to hype WrestleMania. And bizarrely, Trump kept coming up. First, you had Triple H saying that whether you love him or hate him, you got to admit Trump is a great heel. And that's why he's so successful. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what? That's just stupid to say. Trump is a great heel. I mean, listen, during a campaign, that's something I guess you can say in terms of get some attention, gets attention to his campaign. Sure, I guess. But as president, showing off that Trump, the job of the president is not to be a good bad guy. It's not to get the job done of being a bad guy. That's what a heel is in wrestling. It's wrestling talk for basically what a bad guy is. They're a heel. It's not really what you say. And then Roman Reigns, WWE's biggest stars, or at least one of their biggest stars, was asked about Trump. And he basically said that, he supports the president. I mean, he made sure to say he was a registered Democrat and his politics lean more centrist, which is funny to say. But he also said that he supports the president, which is funny. You had Stephanie McMahon launching her podcast and saying it's a douchebag-free zone. And then immediately interviewing her first guest, Trump's buddy and UFC CEO Dana White. Famous for, of course, slapping his wife. It was interesting to see them do this because listen, I know a lot of you think that the wrestling is it's wrestling, but wrestling hasn't been that way for many decades. Um, Wrestling is a theater kid thing, honestly. It's for dudes who like sports and theater. It's for theater kids who like action movies, but want also like sports, but want some theater injected into their sports. It's uh it's not the same as UFC. In fact, Dana White was at WrestleMania, and when they showed him on the screen and like introduced him to the crowd, he was booed. They booed him. Just like how they booed Hulk Hogan the last time Hulk Hogan showed up on WWE TV. They booed him. Oh yeah, Eagle left. Thank you. Also, John Cena with the Vince McMahon comment. Just out of the blue, John Cena is being interviewed, and he comes out and basically says that he doesn't care what anyone says. He will always love Vince McMahon. No matter what Vince McMahon did, he will always love Vince McMahon. It's very bizarre. I don't know what these guys were planning. But I will say this: Vince McMahon, horrible person. Horrible person. He would not go. Oh, and also Tony Hinchcliffe, the guy, the Trump supporting comedian who had that Puerto Rico joke at that Trump rally. He hosted the official post WrestleMania roast in Vegas after the show was over. I mean, these guys, they went like bizarrely. They also had Andrew Schultz related stuff. Logan Paul has been involved with WWE as well. I mean, they've been going full blown MAGA recently. Very bizarre. But the reason I say it's very bizarre, people might not realize this, but Vince McMahon, horrible person. But Vince also, you know, his wife Linda is involved with the Trump administration. Vince hated that Linda wanted to get into politics. He hated it. Hated it. He had Trump involved with WWE before Trump. It was like 2 or 3 years before Trump ran for president in 2015. That was the last time Trump was officially involved with WWE. When Trump was elected, there was no embracing of that on WWE television. Vince McMahon had that same outlook. You know that Michael Jordan quote? Like the reason he doesn't get involved with politics is because Republicans buy sneakers too. There's that like infamous Michael Jordan quote. Vince McMahon had that same sort of, regard to getting politics involved in wrestling. Yes, they usually had wrestlers do political gimmicks at times, but it wasn't so like they had like a Tea Party character, a Tea Party group for a little bit. And they were the bad guys. They would like come out, speak against immigration and what a real American was. They were the bad guys on WBTV. But like they bizarrely just fully embracing, just like going full blown political and like MAGA at that in the lead up to WrestleMania. And my assumption is that the ownership of WWE has something to do with it now. Vince is no longer the owner, obviously. They sold to TKO, which is a group that Endeavor Media spun off to include UFC and WWE. And we all know what UFC is. People should know wrestling fans are not the same as UFC fans. UFC is full blown right wing now. Like all their fans, like the majority of their fans, are right wing. It just is what it is. It's what happened to that company because you had so many pro Trump people just basically running it. It doesn't help that Joe Rogan is a commentator on UFC. But wrestling is not the same as that. pro wrestling fans are pretty progressive. So, they're gonna find out the hard way that the fan base isn't gonna react kindly to that stuff. They found out with Hulk Hogan. They found out with Dana White. They'll find out more. All right, let's go to the second half of the show. We'll take calls. Oh yeah, let's go Mets, baby! Best team in baseball right now. It's incredible. It's incredible. I'm loving this Mets team. It's so good. It's so good. And Juan Soto ain't even hitting homers yet. In fact, Juan Soto has been like he's been getting on base, he's been scoring runs, but in terms of what people expected from him, he hasn't even been doing that yet. I gotta say, if they did not re-sign Pete Alonso, and Pete Alonso was on another team, hitting homers and scoring runs like he is right now for the Mets, I don't know what I would have done with myself. All right, let me jump to the fun half, folks. Skype is going to be shut down very soon, and I'm going to be having guests back on this show. So I'm going to need to invest in Zoom. Unlike Skype, Zoom costs money. What are we talking about? We got I'm be having to throw out close to $200 for an annual Zoom subscription. So I could continue having guests on this show. So folks, if you can, support this show at patreon.com/Matt Binder. Patreon.com/Matt Binder. Can I get two new patrons today to help fund like things I would cover like 90%, 85% of my monthly Zoom costs going forward? Patreon.com/Matt Binder. I'm not going to use Discord when Spirit. Regular people are not going to log into Discord. Other people have asked me to do that as a possible way to solve this issue. You try asking like a professor to log into Discord and get the video call system running. It's not going to happen. They need something super simple where they press a link and their video and audio comes up and I bring them onto the show. That's all that they're going to do. Zero says you can get a like. Hey, you know what I say? Whatever you can do. If you cannot afford to become a patron, please don't. Patreon.com/Matt Binder if you can afford to become a patron. Otherwise, give me that like on YouTube. Give me that free subscription on YouTube so I got more YouTube subscribers. Follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Matt Binder. Oh, if you're an Amazon Prime subscriber, do you know that you get a free Twitch Prime subscription every single month? And you can give that free Twitch Prime subscription to your favorite creator. You basically get them paid at no extra cost to you. If like, let's say it's like $2 I get from that from each person. And so let's say if six Amazon Prime subscribers gave me their free Twitch Prime subscription every month, that would cover my my Zoom costs. Looney Tunes 9000 says use Zoom for free for 1 hour. Well, the free Zoom is only for 45-minute calls. And to that I ask you, have you ever watched this show before. Me do a tight 45-minute interview with anybody? Are you kidding me? It's impossible. It's impossible. I also, even if I could get it down to 45 minutes, I don't want the concern of having a great guest on, asking them that final question, and they get cut off because of time, the Zoom time. All right, folks, let's go to the second half of the show. If you are watching live, if you're a Patreon subscriber, you don't go anywhere. You keep watching this live stream. Screen's going to go show the Doom logo for a second. You'll hear a quick second half song. And then I'm back right here on this same feed, whether you're watching on YouTube, Twitch, or anywhere else. But if you're listening, I should say, to the free Doomed podcast feed, this is what I say to you. I will see you all next time on Doomed. Today on Doomed.
Ecological collapse, corporate fascism, corporate journalism, police brutality, voter suppression, austerity economics, education masses, rampant homophobia, armed strength.
We got our first caller.
What's up, Matt?
Hey,
You from Jamaica?
Dave from Jamaica. How are you doing, my friend? What are we going to talk about today? All right, we are back. The phone lines are now open. 646-303-7337. That is 646-303-7337. And as someone I just saw pointed out, was it I think it was Tony Rizzo, that I would be prudent and probably use Zoom to take calls too. Yeah, I would probably. Oh, I didn't pull myself off in the feed yet. You heard me, but you didn't see me. I would absolutely take calls via Zoom too. I would just have to figure out what's the best method to do that, and then I would do that too for people who can't call in via the phone lines. But the phone lines are now open, 646-303-7337. Let's start taking some calls. Oh, people are already calling in. Let's do this. 304, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, is this me?
No, this isn't. I'm sorry. Yes, this is you. Of course it is. How you doing?
Hey, this is Ren. I'm calling from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
How you doing in how's Harrisburg treating you?
Oh, I'm doing all right. I'm laying down at a Greyhound terminal till 2:30 in the morning.
Oh boy.
Just chilling here. I got my bags.
Is that the next bus to where you're going?
Yep, next bus to where I'm going.
Got there a little bit
I've had a pretty good.
Got there a little bit early.
Can I tell you about my visit to New York?
Oh, you went to New York, right? I heard about this. How was it?
I did. It was fantastic. I was on 104th Street, and it's next to like the Frederick Douglass like housing projects. You know where I'm talking, right? Like Harlem.
Yep.
And I was walking by after taking the MTA up there, and it was Sunday, and I was a little sad because I hadn't gotten to go to an Easter service in Boston. And I saw a black church in Harlem, and I saw somebody walk out of the Methodist church. And I was like, oh, are they still open? And I went in, and they were doing fellowship. They fed me. They welcomed me. It was fantastic. I went and I checked into the hostel. I had some like authentic pizza at this place,
Sbarro?
and had half.
Sabara?
Huh?
Sabaro?
I don't know. I don't.
No,
I don't know.
I'm making a joke. Sbarro is a chain, a pizza chain. It's not a real authentic pizza, but you probably did have authentic
Oh.
New York pizza if you went to like just a
Yeah,
regular
no, it was
pizzeria.
it was brick oven pizza, and like the people there were like very clearly like Italian. They made really good pesto and like other stuff.
Oh no! If you want the good of New York pizza, you gotta go somewhere where there's like a Mexican guy behind the counter. Honestly.
No, I went there. I went to a place like that. No, I went to a place like that, and this guy was a little bit of a yuppie. Not really young urban professional anymore, but he used to be a yuppie in the 90s or something. And he was like jogging gear, kind of like white beard and a little bit longer white hair. And, you know, the guy who he knew behind the counter was pretending to not know English and to only know Spanish to make him order in Spanish. And he was like, "You don't know how hungry I am." And then he was telling the guy, the place that you used to be at, a new pizza joint is moving in there. Yeah, it's right next to my place, you know, so I just have to walk half a block instead of 4. You like grilling the guy a little bit. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Sounds like you were at a real New York pizzeria.
Well, oh, absolutely. I also, you know, I had a conversation with this older Jewish couple, and it was very nice. And, you know, we spoke the whole time I was there. They were very kind and gracious to me. We spoke a bit about, you know, about like demagogues and politics and this and that and fascism, and you know, it was a very, it was,
Wow, you had authentic New York pizza. You found an authentic New York progressive Jew.
yeah. No, absolutely. No, but it was really wonderful. And I was like, this is such a nice city. And I had been anxious, you know, so much of my teenage and adult life, you know, about New Englanders being like, "Oh, this hick with no manners playing fiddle," like, you know, but like, you know, like I felt welcomed with open arms. It was great. It was great.
Good to hear. So, did you see any of the what sites did you see?
What sites did I see? Well, you know, I saw the youth hostel, which is where I was staying. I got to see Penn Station. I got to see the Nintendo store.
Nintendo store is a fun visit. It's you know, it's just it's smaller than I think people expect, but it's a fun visit. They got a lot of cool stuff.
I saw Rockefeller Plaza, with all the flags.
Rockefeller Center. Yeah.
Yeah, Rockefeller Center.
That's where
and
that's
that's
where the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree is.
I saw the breasted hunters like riding the fish that were like spitting out the water into the fountain.
Okay.
Yeah, that was cool. And you know, it was and I went to Five Guys, and all I had was like a small fry, and oh my gosh, I had this experience where like
good. Expensive but good.
You know, it was like $6.70, and they like gave me a ridiculous amount. I just ordered like a normal, and they gave me a ridiculous amount. Like, people were nice to me, man. Like, it was great. And then like I took the train to Philly, and I, you know, like I'd felt so much in community over the last few weeks. I had a wonderful conversation with a hijabi girl, up from Christiansburg to Roanoke, and then from Roanoke to Charlottesville, where she got off, about Job and about the Old Testament, about the Quran, and, you know, Islamic religious teachings and other stuff. But no, I get to Philly, and I'm going to check into the hotel, and I saw Pope Francis on the news, and I just started crying in public, and it was like impossible. Like, it was like impossible to not cry, like in front of like the in in front of the guy who was checking me into the
You're a big Pope
hotel.
Francis fan.
Oh yeah, no, like I cried so much I had to drink water. Like it was, I had a headache. I cried so much. Um, I didn't think it was going to be that strong for me. You know, I'd woken up and found out he passed. And I thought, oh, it's really nice that he got to spend his last days on earth, celebrating Christ's return and getting to see Easter. And then I saw him on the news and like it really hit me. And I just I was crying for him. Like I cried for my great grandma.
He also got to spend his last moments in the company of JD Vance.
Dude, everybody was posting that zoomed in picture of like the Pope looking all crusty and about to die right next to JD Vance. And like
he looks like shocked to see JD. Excuse me, shocked to see JD Vance. Like, the fuck is this guy doing here?
people were saying like JD Vance has like the goat like square pupils and like he's like a child of Satan. Like no, it's like, oh my God, like honest to God, like I saw an amazing tweet. I think you may have seen it, but somebody said if JD Vance was a real Catholic, he would be begging people in the street to shoot him right now. And yeah. If he was, he would be. Like, there was some other pretty good jokes about it where it was like, JD Vance comes back and he was like, wow, that was dirty work what you did over there. I think you went a little bit too far. And then JD's just like, but like I didn't. It's not what you. And he's like, nope, don't tell me. I don't want to know the details. Like he went in on some kind of a mission to assassinate the Pope to have an arch conservative installed.
Yeah.
No, what? Oh, God.
Yeah.
What have you been keeping up with in the news? Like what has been the biggest thing that's a nail in your brain?
I've been sort of like I've been sports Matt lately. The Mets are getting me really excited, honestly.
I saw that post you made on Blue Sky.
I went to the game with my son on. In fact, I went to the game with my son, my dad, and my oldest younger brother as a birthday gift to both my brother and my dad, because my brother's birthday was in March. Gave him a ticket as a gift. My dad's birthday was literally on Monday, the day we went to the game. Gave him a ticket as a gift, and we all went to the game, and I got to see the Mets beat the Phillies. We got to see multiple home runs. Got to see the Mets captain Francisco Lindor hit 2 home runs in one game. It was a fun game.
That's fantastic.
It was a fun game.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Oh my gosh, okay. Do you have anything else? Do you have anything else in the chamber about sports?
No, I mean I missed WrestleMania because it was Easter. Like I saw Saturday's WrestleMania, but then I missed Sunday because it was Easter. From what I saw, it was an okay show. They had a really good WrestleMania last year, and it was not going to top that one, and it didn't. And I think people disappointed. Yeah. And then the Pope. I was pretty shocked about the Pope dying, especially because of all like you were bringing up before. I wasn't crying. I know I'm a bad Catholic.
He was a good Christian. He was. I saw him as like a brother and a fellow Christian. I assume the Muslims are gonna cry when the Ayatollah passes.
I mean, he was a good pope to the world, honestly, in terms of like his relationship with Muslim people and Jewish people, and he was seen as a good figure. I mean, Europe loved him. Europe loved him. It was the weird Catholics in the U.S., the right-wing Catholics in the U.S. who had some bizarre hatred for the guy. Not really all that bizarre knowing them, but they had the hatred for the guy. It was, I was, let's put it this way. Like, in the current times we're in, with Trump and all these other right-wing leaders, all over the world. It was good to see a large figure who was not that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was like, and hopefully the next pope's like that too. Otherwise, it'll be a real loss. Like, it was good to see when Trump would do something horrible to immigrants. The Pope put out a statement on migrants. It was good to see. I mean, they openly pushed back against the Trump administration. Apparently, according to the Vatican, Pope Francis had J.D. Vance meet with one of his top,
To be lectured about
people.
empathy.
To be lectured, about the immigration situation here in the U.S. It was, I believe the Vatican put it as they shared their difference of opinions. I mean, that's important if you ask me. I love the fucking idea that these fucking new Catholics are supposed to be so
They're
holier
complete
than thou.
heretics.
They
They're
are the
complete
worst.
heretics.
Listen, I'm a non-believer, and I'm a better Catholic than them because I was the real deal. I was bored into it. I went to Catholic school. I was an altar boy for years. I went to church.
Wow.
I went to church. The amount of times I went to church when I was an altar server probably is still more than the number of times fucking JD Vance has gone to church his entire life. I was literally had to leave class to go be an altar server for mass at times. Like, it was one of those schools. And in 4th grade, honest to God, I thought I was becoming a priest. Honest to God.
Wow.
And in one fell swoop, the Monsignor at the church was a special guest for one of our religion classes, and he told the class that animals do not have souls, so we will not see them in heaven. And that was the beginning of the end. That was the chip.
Wow.
That was the chip for me. That made me, what? My pet isn't gonna. My dog that I love, I'm not gonna see that. No, then I don't want to go there. What? Are you kidding me? That was the beginning of the end for me. And by the
Wow.
way, years later, that was the Monsignor who taught that class, who served many masses that I was an altar server for. It turns out he was one of those priests that had a long history of being sent to from church to church throughout the diocese because he was molesting kids.
Wow.
Including
Wow.
one of the people that I knew in class that we didn't know at the time. We
Wow.
found out years and years later. So
Wow.
So when I say I'm not a Catholic anymore, I learned all the stuff. I went to church a ton. I think the teachings in terms of like what Jesus Christ taught, the morals, the lessons to be learned, for the most part, very good. Very progressive in many ways. Jesus was progressive. The church as a whole, not so good. Not so good, to say the least.
Yeah, no, the church has done so much harm. And, somebody was saying, and I am not qualified to speak about this because I am not learned. I'm not learned in Catholic religious thought. But, somebody was talking about how the Pope was a Jesuit and that after the church becoming so disgraced with the previous Pope, of course it would be a Jesuit that volunteered to stand up and be the Pope during that period where the image of the church was so damaged.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, listen, Pope Francis obviously had a very, very, like we discussed earlier, he wasn't perfect, but he certainly brought things in the direction they needed to go. And hopefully that
Yes.
continues, and eventually maybe, I believe one of the candidates, I think it is Tregala.
Is a modernist?
The Tregala, I think I was reading that he actually thinks that abortion is okay in certain instances in terms of like life of the mother and things like that. Obviously you're never gonna get a a full on pro choice pope. I don't see that happening. But I think the idea that like the mother should come first, I think that would be a
Yeah.
huge step in the right direction for the church. And if we had a pope who believed that, I think that'd be super good.
Yeah. I mean, may I share like my thoughts on this?
Yeah. Yeah. Hello.
Oh, you there?
Yeah, I'm there. Go ahead. Go ahead, please.
Okay. So I'm very religious. I see the loss of a fetus as a loss, and I see it as different than the loss of an infant or of a baby that has already been born. My kind of belief, like my comfort zone, is quickening. Do you know what quickening is? Actually, no. You've had children, so like like my sort of thing is I feel like when the baby starts moving, I feel like that is reflective of a life, of or like a soul being imparted, or whatever else. It's like, and I don't think that should supersede somebody's right to bodily autonomy. And I think there are many circumstances, like during war, when there have been mass rapes, other things like that. Something that the United Nations sometimes has to do is on women who are 6-7 months pregnant, with the baby of like an occupying force that has sexually abused the women there. And like there's other circumstances too. Like I don't think that my personal feelings on this matter should dictate what the law is. But that's sort of my 2 cents.
All right. I see someone in the chat saying, there was a few people saying that, don't worry, Binder, animals have souls. I mean, 2 things there. Number one, like that is that
Animals?
but that wasn't just the opinion of that priest. I mean, I think it was pretty crazy to come to a class of 4th graders and fucking say that shit. But,
I've heard so many religious people say this, and it's a bit revolting to me.
The position of the church is that animals don't have souls, and that's what makes them different than human beings. That's the position of the church. That is, you're not gonna have your animals are not in heaven. All dogs do not go to heaven. In fact, no dogs go to heaven. That's what makes human beings human beings. We get to go to heaven. They don't. That's the official position. If you're a Catholic, that's what the official doctrine of Catholicism. I think Christianity as a whole too. That's what they believe. Maybe there's like different sects that like believe differently, but the mainstream Christianity, that's the position.
I spoke to a Calvinist, and I remember, like I asked him if autistic people or the mentally disabled go to heaven, and he said, I don't know.
Jeez.
And
I mean, for me, listen, my take on
I
this,
looked at him with the biggest look of just like shock.
right.
And like I was aghast at the lack of humanity of this person.
Right. I mean, my take is that this is a completely immaterial discussion to begin with, because animals don't have souls. People don't have souls. Nobody has souls. The concept of the soul isn't real. There's no such thing as a soul. That means that religion is correct, and that there is a God, and there's a higher power, and there is a heaven, and I don't believe any of that. I don't think there's a God. I don't believe there's heaven, and there's no soul. You don't have soul.
You have to live like you have a soul.
No, I don't think it's necessary. I think the important
Living like you have a soul is like.
I mean,
Sorry,
listen,
go ahead. Go ahead.
If you believe that you have a soul, I'm not gonna try to, I'm not gonna try to. If you believe people have souls, and everyone, I'm not gonna try to change your mind. I'm not out here to do that. You could believe that. I don't. Listen, if I'm wrong, I'm not gonna be like, oh, phooey, I'm wrong. No, I'm gonna be like, oh, this is awesome. There's a heaven. Great, cool. I'm not gonna be like, oh man, I was wrong. I'd be like, fuck yes, I was wrong. Thank God I was wrong about that. Literally. But listen, I don't think there's a heaven. I think you die. That's it. There's nothing. I don't think that. I think saying nothing is wrong too, because before we were born, it's not that we experienced nothing. We just did not experience. I think that's what happens when you die. There's just
Yes.
that's it.
Well,
Um, and I think
I'm a humanist.
and I think the reason
I'm a humanist.
Yeah.
I was sorry, you had something else to
No,
say.
I was
Go ahead.
gonna say, like, I think like the idea that you need to have a soul or believe that people have souls to give them humanity, or I don't think like that's necessary. Like, maybe some people for them it's necessary, but in the big picture, like I'm not good or kind to people because I want to go to heaven
Because you
or
want to
something.
get something out of
Yeah,
it.
I just want everyone to
Yeah.
get by and just
I feel like this is
live
a
their
perfect
live
place
their
for me to interject here.
live their life, enjoy their life, make it as easy as possible, and then you know you clock out when it's all over.
I hope an enjoyable death is something that people get to have. So I'm a humanist, and like I'm very religious. But like I don't think that people's conception of heaven is correct, because I see a lot of evangelical Christians, and their understanding of heaven is this place for hedonic pleasure. And that seems to be wrong to me. And that seems to be a very perverse way to live your life, in which you deprive yourself during your time living on this earth for the promise of endless, like, orgasmic hedonic pleasure. Like spiritually orgasmic pleasure or whatever the hell. Like that's weird. My understanding of heaven is that I have no clue what it looks like. For all I know, when I die, I am contributed to the energy of all other human beings, and I am in communion with every other person, living and dead. For all I know, that's what it is.
I mean,
And if it's just that,
I think we all hang out on clouds with little wings. I think that's what happens.
you think we all hang out what?
I said I think we all hang out on clouds and have little wings. That's what we do when we die.
Well,
No, I mean, I get,
like
no,
I don't
I get
think
what you're saying. Like we don't.
I think the
like,
idea that your
concept-
consciousness,
Yeah, the concept.
the
of
idea that
heaven-
your consciousness or your ego will exist in heaven, I think is misconceived.
Right.
Like
the concept of heaven is a very specific thing that perhaps you don't have to subscribe to. You know what I mean? Like even if you believe in a heaven, I just don't think. I just think like it doesn't. From what we know, it doesn't make really any sense. Like we for there to be something after that your body dies, there has to be something like a soul, right? And I don't believe that there's a soul. You die and that's it. I mean, it's nothing ugly.
I believe that.
There's nothing ugly or scary about that. I think people think about like.
Do you think someone has a soul while they're alive?
No.
And it.
No.
Oh.
No.
I see, like my cat. Like I see my cat, and sometimes like I'm looking at the way he behaves and stuff, and I'm like, you have a soul, little guy. Like you've got a soul in there, and like
that's just a cat being a cat. That's just they got feelings, they got emotions, they got personality.
Yeah, he has feelings.
That's on their brain.
He has feelings. He's got stuff that's in his brain, and there's something that I can't quite sum up there, of like and then after he's gone, like it dissipates. It dissipates and it goes away.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly an interesting thing to ponder. But I also think like the idea that I think a lot of people like the reason they need a heaven is because like they're scared of dying. And I mean, the hard part isn't for you or like the deceased. The hard part is for the people on Earth, because once
Who are
you who
living.
are living,
Yeah.
because once you're deceased, you're not going to miss anybody, because there's you don't have that capability. That you don't have the ability to miss. There's you don't. That's gone.
Yes, it is. It is largely for the living. It is.
Yeah.
It is largely for the
Yes.
living,
Yes.
because the idea that the idea that I'll have never gotten to play fiddle for Betty, or other stuff like that, or it weighs on it weighs
Right.
on the emotions of the
Right.
living.
So that's why, like, if people want that or believe that, again, I'd be happy to be wrong, and I'm not gonna think any less of someone or try to change their mind. I think it's totally fine to believe that, and maybe I am wrong. I can't know absolute. I'm not an agnostic. Like, I'm not saying like my opinion is that, but I'm also capable of knowing that I don't 100% surely know, because I can't prove it. It's just I believe
That's why.
that
That's
this
why I
is not the
cried when
truth.
I.
Yeah.
That's why I cried when I saw That's why I cried when I saw Francis on the news, because he's gone. He's not here anymore.
Yeah, that's
You
it.
know.
No one will. That's it. That's it's this sort of, I guess, sad reality for the living. But no one misses someone who died 200 years ago, because they're not. Anyone who was around to miss them is not around themselves. You know what I mean? Like, that feeling has from anybody is dissipated. It's gone.
Yeah.
Eventually, that'll be people for 150 years from now. Everyone now will have the same sort of thing going on for them.
Well, it's possible. Like everything that you do contributes.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything that you do
This is a heavy
contributes to, like,
conversation we're having right now. This is a heavy conversation.
it's not very heavy for me.
It's a heavy conversation. No, I mean, like, it's a very deep conversation. That's what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not used to. I don't mind having it. Obviously, I do it. But I'm one of those people who is like, I sort of, just you die, that's it. It's just the facts of life. It's part of life. So while you're here, treat people good, have a good time yourself, and tip your waiter on your way out.
Yeah. Can I ramble about some stuff that maybe I shouldn't ramble about?
I was just gonna say we're gonna get to another caller, because we're
Okay, goodbye, Matt.
30 minutes
Thank
in.
you for taking
I'm
my
sorry.
call.
No, this was a great call. I really enjoyed it.
Be well.
You too, and get home safe.
Yes,
Or
I
wherever
gotta
you're
stay
going.
up
Are
for a
you
bit
going
longer.
home, or are you going to another destination?
I'm going. Okay, I'm going
Don't give us an exact. Give us a
Pittsburgh.
general. There you go. Yeah, perfect.
Pittsburgh to Parkersburg. I'm gonna get 7 cavities filled, and then I'm getting on the train in Lake Cincinnati to go back out west. That's the gist.
Got it. Have fun. Have a safe trip. Have a good time.
I'm having a great time.
And peace be with you.
Shit, that was the last thing I wanted to say.
What?
Can I say 10 seconds? Okay.
Quick.
That was something that I've loved with this trip, is like an appreciation for, like, being from Appalachia, like how much people appreciate and love our culture. And it is very encouraging, and it makes me feel good, that people like us,
There you go. All right. Have a great trip, Ren. Take care.
Bye.
All right, let's go. Ooh, already got calls coming in. You hear that? 438. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Matt. This is Osama from Canada currently, but not from Canada in a bit.
Oh, what happened?
Oh, I told you about my money issues, right? So I had to book a flight back, and Charlie sent a link. It's not for me being able to stay in Canada anymore. It's for me to have money while I am here, because I thought I had more savings, but I'm leaving on the 8th of May, and until then I need money for food and stuff.
Drop that link in the chat, folks.
Yeah, but other than that, stuff happens. What can you do?
Right. I hope you get back on
The
your feet,
previous
though,
callers,
so.
yeah, religion like conversation you were having. It was it's like the conceptualizations we have are very different. It's kind of funny for me because, for example, animals have souls in Islam. They are just innocent. So animals are innocent, babies are innocent. Anyone who never hears about the true message is innocent. They just go to heaven. Plants go to heaven. All living things go to heaven that are innocent. If a baby dies, they just go to heaven. And there's no, oh, the Christian baby died. Or the atheist baby died. And the other thing is, I don't know, it's a conceptualization thing. I've never felt comfort from people who might be in heaven. I know people say that a lot, like it's comforting that their loved ones are in heaven or whatever,
Yeah, I mean,
or will be in heaven.
you don't need to be comforted though. It's not like there's anything worse out there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's just nothing.
No, but I mean, I'm religious, right? And I believe in heaven and hell and all that. I don't find comfort still. Like if they didn't exist, or they did, or they are existing after this life, then okay. I don't get the comfort, but maybe it's just me. Maybe everyone else feels that. But the caller was saying something about heaven being materialistic, right? Like the conceptualization. In like a more spiritual framings of Islam, the actual thing about heaven isn't the heaven part, it's about the closeness to God. And there are levels. So the closer you are to God, the higher you are at that level. And at the highest level, you're like really, really close to God. And the further away from God you are, you go away from heaven to like the middle part to hell. So like the lowest level will be people who are like the furthest away from God. And that's the conceptualization. Beyond that, it's just no one really knows. People make stuff up. Like even if you want to talk just religious terminology, not like in terms of if being a real thing, but what religions believe. At least is what Islam believes is like the only descriptions we have other than that is that there will be rivers of milk and honey, and fruits like that taste like something we've never tasted before or stuff like that. The funniest thing I want to do though is play tennis with an angel. I feel like if there is a heaven, I want that dude, and I reach that heaven. I want to play tennis with an angel. Maybe that angel will destroy me. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Maybe they're really powerful. But yeah, that topic aside, did you hear about what's happening in India and Pakistan?
I did not. No.
So there was this attack on tourists by militant
I did hear about that. I did hear about that,
yeah.
but tell me more about what happened.
So that part isn't that interesting because, like, it doesn't matter whether Pakistan was involved or whether it was just Kashmiri militants of their own, or it was a false flag by India, because all three are possible. Like, there's no real evidence, so who knows? The outcome is the same. It's because the Indian government is kind of crazy. It's kind of like how it wouldn't have mattered if Hamas did the October 7th attack, or it was someone else, or it was Israel itself, because Israel's reaction was going to be the same. So the more interesting thing is the reaction part. Like I've heard they've literally shut down Kashmir again, and they've basically suspended, which is code word for they're breaking the Indus Water Treaty, which is the treaty between India and Pakistan that regulates that because Pakistan's rivers, a lot of their sources are from Indian Kashmir and some from Indian Punjab. India can technically stop the water, but of course that would be insane. So there's been this Indus Water Treaty that was brokered with the UN, and India is basically saying, no, we're not going to follow that for now. And they always do these shenanigans, but usually it's before elections, so they can get like the nationalist vote. And now they're just doing it. I don't know if there are any elections coming up in India. I don't think there are, because they recently had some. And basically, it's like in terms of like, I hate the word terrorism, but if you're going to use the word terrorism, blocking water for a country of 200 million plus people right before like the season when crops and everything are grown, or at that season, because it's that time, right? Is I feel like a bigger act of terrorism than anything any bomb can do.
Right.
But yeah, that's what's happening there.
That's
Uh,
yeah. Thank you for giving us that update.
yep, and Balochistan is still kind of insane. Like I was talking with my family, and my brother was saying that people are just apathetic at that point. Like it's not like you have that fear of the army and what they'll do because it's an authoritarian place and they might take your family or your friends or whatever. And then you have hope, so you're not as afraid of the army anymore. You're like, we're gonna get the revolution or whatever. We're gonna replace them. But then there's apathy where you're like, I don't care what happens at this point. Just fuck them. I'm gonna say whatever. And my brother is sort of saying a lot of people are in the third stage of this, where they don't have hope that things will be better, but they're like, who cares anymore? Which is like the worst state to be in.
Right.
And I'm returning to that at the time when India is blocking water. So fun times for me.
Oh boy. Yeah. Well, I hope.
I actually legit thought in like about like I looked into the asylum process in Canada, but I'm like I won't be able to go back home at all anymore. Then at least for like a few decades.
Yeah. Wow.
So here we are. But I know it's like kind of bleak for America, but part of some of the stuff, even though it's bad, I know it's bad. I use it for like as a form of like I don't know. It's a weird form of uh, comedy, I guess, in a way. Like I read about Trump lowering tariffs on China for no reason, like just randomly saying, "Okay, we're going to lower tariffs for China. We're not going to make it zero, but we're going to lower tariffs for China." And China's just like doing nothing. Then China's like negotiate like a real country, and our prime minister is not going to call your president. That's stupid. And Trump's like, okay, we'll create exceptions for electronics. Okay, we'll lower tariffs. And China's like, I'm blocking all your rare mineral exports. Imports. Sorry, I'm blocking. I'm not going to give you my rare earth minerals. It's kind of, if it wasn't like there were real world expectations or whatever, it would be like if someone wrote like a gag comedy, right?
Yeah.
Like if there what's that? If people watch anime, there's this trope of a character who's like always trying to get their superior, like their upperclassmen to notice them. It's like notice me something, like pick me girls. Trump is like a pick me girl for China. Because have you read the reports? They're like their officials kept asking Chinese officials that, oh, he should just call Trump and then everything will be fine. And they kept doing that for before the terrorists for months, and they're still doing it. Trump's a pick-me girl for China. Trump just wants Zed to like him.
All right, Usama. This was a funny call.
Wait.
Yeah, go ahead. One more thing.
Since it's only been like a few minutes. I mean, it's only been 5 minutes. Jesus.
It's been 10 minutes.
Yeah, is it okay? Yeah, okay. I was commenting on the Pope thing. The previous caller said that if the Ayatollah dies, like I think more Muslims are sad that the Pope died than would even care about the Ayatollah. No Muslim care. Like maybe some Shias care about the Ayatollah, but most Iranis hate the Ayatollah as well. We don't have a central figure to rally around. I don't think there's anyone who, if they die, most Muslims would be sad for.
Right. Yeah.
Except maybe like a humanitarian figure. I don't know. Greta Thunberg. Maybe I don't know. She speaks out for our issues. Yeah, I feel like more Muslims are sad for the Pope dying than even care about the Ayatollah.
Yeah, I mean, he was he spoke out against issues affecting the Muslim world.
He used to call the church in Palestine, I think, every day while the genocide was happening. I don't know if he carried it all the way through because he was sick as well, of course, because he's 88. But he was doing that. The funniest thing to me was when people show up, right? Like he's had the Pope. I think there's the YouTube creator Matt Pat. He's met the Pope as well, and like other people have met the Pope. And every time the Pope gives them something like personable, like something related to them, like as a gift, like. It's more like a personal human to human thing. But when JD Vance showed up, it was two things from the like confectionery shop, like Easter egg stuff for the kids at a tie. Like he didn't care at all about JD Vance.
Right.
He was like, just here you go.
Right.
It's hospitality.
Right. Yeah. It was.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was. Yeah. I mean,
Oh,
that's what I think. You see this a lot of times, and like they don't get the message. They don't get that people don't like them. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. Okay. This will be the last thing. You mentioned the wrestling thing and all the wrestlers, all the top stars being weird, and them being like them trying to attract right wing people, but no right wing people are going to come because UFC people hate wrestling. They think it's like, I don't think it's derogatory, but what that's in their mind, they think it's like a gay theater thing, and
what?
they think it's derogatory.
A what?
A gay theater thing.
I'm sorry.
That's what they think because UFC
I'm sorry,
people are kind of
I can't understand what you're saying. I'm sorry. They think it's a what?
A gay theater thing.
Oh, a gay theater thing. Okay. Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say. Yeah.
Yeah.
MMA people look at.
I don't think that's derogatory.
No.
UFC people think that's yeah.
Yeah, I mean they think anything.
That's what.
I mean, listen, wrestling has a long history of being influenced by honestly gay culture. I mean, look at like some of the earliest, flashiest wrestlers, like Gorgeous George.
But UFC people think that's a negative thing. They're not gonna watch wrestling no matter how much they try to make it a right wing thing.
They also don't like the idea that it's in their world, in their mind, fake. They don't like the idea that it's predetermined and it's a show.
Yeah,
they think it's a lie to do something like that.
I think that part is them being you being charitable to them. But also they won't be welcome in their already existing wrestling crowd, and because of the weird stuff they're into. And I did want to say that most of the audience today is like liberal or lefty types, and like of course like there's a lot of trans people and queer people. And a lot of and a lot of wrestlers are like that too. Even though the top stars were being whatever they are, Seth Rollins, when he went to Bologna, Italy during the European tour, posted a picture of painted kafia. So you get what that means. Because WWE is so messed up, if you wanna talk about liking like a right-wing fascist, you can openly say it. But you want to talk about about Palestine, you have to be a bit more cryptic. Of course, CM Punk talked about Palestine. Sami Zayn, they've also talked about trans people. They've spoken up for them, and I think Becky Lynch, was it Zelina Vega? I don't remember. But a lot of wrestlers have spoken out about these things. Although weirdly, a lot of new like trainee wrestlers are kind of mega types, which is weird. Like if you look at the new crop from NXT, there's a lot of weird mega people. Maybe it's because they're in Florida. I don't know. There's a mix. Wrestlers are a mixed bag. The owners are firmly like right-wing corpo business types. Like, of course, it's TKO. and the fans are firmly like liberal to left wing.
Right.
So wrestling's weird and complicated.
It is. No, absolutely.
but it's awesome. And if people don't like, a lot of people in comments who don't watch wrestling weren't getting it. But if you wanna sort of get it, watch videos from Super Eye Patch Wolf. He lays it out perfectly,
From who?
and you'll have fun. Super Eye Patch Wolf. He's a YouTuber.
I'll have to check that person out.
You should, yeah, because they've made great ones about Bray Wyatt, The Undertaker
say
streak,
their name one more
Cody
time.
Rhodes, and
Say-
Roman
say-
Reigns.
Say their name one more time.
Super Eye Patch Wolf.
Eye Patch Wolf. Okay. I was actually I don't know
Yeah.
if you remember. I had a wrestling YouTube channel years ago, and I've been thinking about relaunching it. I've been thinking about relaunching it honestly, because I
If you ever relaunch it, and if you don't want to do it individually, I'd join you. I'll have a lot of fun talking about it.
Oh no, I probably wouldn't do live streams. I do like videos, like
No, even if you do
yeah,
videos.
yeah, sounds good.
I mean, you can
absolutely. I'll
record with
guest
other
on.
people.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, sounds good. I'd be up for
No, I didn't mean guests, but sure, I got my response.
Yeah.
Okay. I meant as a co-host, but sure.
Oh, I don't know if I was gonna do anything like
It's
that.
okay.
Yeah, definitely. All right, have a
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
have a good night.
Yeah,
Usama. Take care.
have a good one. And we should schedule the call thing you talked about, but I guess it'll have to be on Zoom since I won't
Yes.
be able to use
Yes.
this number.
All right, take care.
Okay.
Usama. That sounds good.
Bye.
Bye.
I'll email you.
Yep. All right. Oof. Jeez. Well, calls went long. Jeez. I'll take one more call. And then I'll get the super chats. If there's no calls on. Everyone hung up. There was a bunch of people on hold. My bad. If one more person calls in, I'll take their call. Otherwise, let me get to those super chats. Renee with a bunch of super chats. I'm just gonna read them all. Oh wait, we got this last call. I'll take it. 504. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, this is Bill Quinton. I'm calling you from my perverted sex mansion from Arkansas.
Oh boy, who's doing this one? Hello, Bill Clinton. How are you?
I'm doing well, even though my wife, Hillary Clinton, has gone to sleep with a bathrobe on.
Oh, what? I'm not following.
All right, so listen, do not tell this to Hillary, but I have a hot girl with me right now. Because once I get off this call, I will make love to her just like I do in a porn video. I
Okay.
will do it nice and very softly.
All right, I'm
And
already done
I'll-
with this. I don't want to hear this anymore. This is too disturbing. I'm done.
Oh no, you're not going to tell Hillary, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm making you drop it too. You lost the accent.
Uh-oh.
That was very disturbing. Very good. Very good job at making me cringe. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh boy, how are you? What would you like to talk about, or was that what you wanted to do?
Okay. Boy, the Pope, I don't know how the hell J.D. Vance decided to kill the Pope.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy that the Pope literally met with him and hours later. It wasn't even like the next day. It wasn't even like a whole day went by. Hours later. Hours later.
Hours later, and then decided, you know what? Fuck it. I'm done. I'm dead.
I'm not getting through to these people. I'm out.
Yeah, like I'm out.
I mean, he passed pretty quick. I mean, hours later, he's just, jeez. I mean, I know he was sick and he had spent previous days in the hospital, but dude was out there giving the Easter sermon.
Oh yeah, and he looked okay too.
Yeah, I mean, he looked
J.D.
sick, but he didn't look like he was on his deathbed.
I mean, my God, he was 89.
It's crazy.
Oh shit, That was long. But too bad, JD Vance. You can't just go fuck your couch or something. As you know, I'm being sarcastic.
Unbelievable that these guys. It's pretty. It sucks. That's the last person he saw. You know what I mean? Like JD Vance, really?
Yeah. I mean, JD Vance, my God, I hate him with a burning passion. And he couldn't carry a football trophy.
Oh, I saw
cannot
that.
carry
That
a
was
football.
embarrassing. That was
Oh my
embarrassing.
God,
That was
that's embarrassing. Can you put? He cannot hold one football trophy, or he can't carry a World Series trophy.
It was, you know, I don't know why you would pick it up like that too. Like he it's very weird. It was like he's never held a trophy before, which makes sense actually now that I think about
Yeah.
it. Yeah, he didn't have experience ever of holding a trophy, so
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well.
All
right.
I appreciate the Bill Clinton. It was just I for that I didn't even know what to do with that one. That was that was wow. That was
Well, that's the first time Bill Clinton calls on this show.
have a have a great night. Thanks for the call.
All right. All right.
Take
Go
care.
Yankees. Fuck the Mets.
Oh no! Why would you do that?
I'm sorry.
Oh no! Now you're blocked. Never call it again.
Oh, I know you're kidding. I know you're kidding.
I am, yes, but
I,
ooh, what a way to end the call. Have a horrible night now.
oh, okay. Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
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 Oh no, sorry everyone. I'm feeling like I need to I'm tired now. Can't someone else tried to call in. I didn't take that many calls. I went way too long with the first two callers. But I promise I will do another call-in show very soon. Let me read the super chats. I'm going to read all of Renee's in a row here because there's a bunch of them. Renee says there's non-alcoholic versions, though. It's my margaritas. Renee also says, check out the article in Spanish in the Salvadorian publication El Faro about it. About Abrego Garcia. Bukele making deals with gang members and worried about leaks. Renee says David Pakman claims that he has been advised to not leave the U.S. Really? What do you mean? But what is? Was he not born here? Oh, he was born in Argentina. I didn't know that. Interesting that he was told that. Not interesting that he was born in Argentina. Although also interesting. No, I'm joking. David Packwood. Renee says Romero should have been Pope. Who's Romero? You're missing the Portuguese candidate. Am I? Isn't that roller derby? Says Renee. I don't know what he's talking about there. All right, I read all of Renee's. Let me go back to the super chats now. Tokyo Hans. They were straight white tequila margaritas. Bay Photo with a super chat. I have to imagine that the Trump administration's next move will be to try and block members of Congress from visiting ICE detention centers. Jeffrey Caney with a $13 super chat. Thank you so much. What do you think Michael Brooks's views would be of the present moment? He would he would obviously be pro Donald Trump's immigration platform. He would I can't even joke about it. No, I mean, I think we know what Michael Brooks' views would be. Listen, I've said this before. I don't like to speculate where Michael would have been, but I think on something like this, it's pretty clear. He didn't. He certainly evolved in his thinking, but he didn't outright change his positions. Michael was very progressive. He was a leftist. He would think this was very disgusting. He would have been fucking raking Joe Rogan over the coals. He would have been having a lot of fun mocking Dave Rubin, and he would have had so much fun with Bill Maher. Bill Maher's meeting with Trump, he would have fucking been over the moon with that shit. He would have been hilarious. The question is the question really isn't what Michael's views would have been on this. The real question for me is what impressions and what jokes would Michael have come up with for this shit? That's the mind of Michael that I can't pin down and tell you. Because that was where he truly was out there and one of a kind. That's the one I can pin down for you. That would have we missed out on some real great stuff from him. Tokyo Hans, thank you for the 5 gift memberships. Really appreciate it. Tokyo Hans with another super chat. Mitch McConnell and Joe Biden must be rolling in their graves that the Pope outlived them after calling them out, shouting from back. Wait, what do you mean they aren't? Tokyo Hans with another super chat. Usama is making tell you to talk to him. What? Oh, is making me tell you to talk to him. Okay. Osama gets more time on this show than anyone. What are you talking about? I take his calls and he basically takes over a hosting portion of this program. Tony Rizzo with a super chat. Still can't afford to be a patron again yet, but here is 1% of my tax return. Oh, thank you so much, Tony. Like I say, when I make the call for memberships and donations and money or whatever you want to call it, it is strictly to people who have the means. If you do not, I'm not talking to you. You give what you can if you want to give. You don't even have to give. And when I say you give what you can, I don't even mean monetarily. I mean, recommend the stream to a friend. If you're not already subscribed to the YouTube channel or follow me on Twitch, both of those things are the free things you can do. Do that. I basically want your support if you enjoy what I do in any way that you can. And that doesn't always mean monetarily. However, if you have the means monetarily, that's a different story. Creflo with a bunch of super chats. I'm going to read all of Creflo's super chats. Hogan fears unions. That he does. We're launching ESVN with you, me, and Russ, where we talk all things wrestling and soccer, the sports people actually care about. And the Mets. You got to add the Mets. This Mets. I've always been a Mets fan because they are when people say they like their home team, and they mean like the team that represents their state or city or whatever. For me, it's like I can throw a rock and hit Citi Field. The Mets are as home can be for a home team. Same with NYCFC when their stadium is built in a few years, right next to Citi Field. So like, I've been a lifelong Mets fan, but just passively. But then I got really into the Mets with this current lineup. The 2024 Mets really won me over. For me, I always liked. Obviously pro wrestling, even though people don't consider pro wrestling sport. Pro wrestling has always been my number one. Soccer is a sport because I play soccer and played soccer when I was little. It's the sport I've always played. And then I liked baseball and hockey. Like another team that won me over. I was a huge hockey fan when I was a kid in elementary school because of the 1994 New York Rangers, the last Rangers team that won the Stanley Cup. I was a huge fan, was watching all the games on TV, was like a religiously following the Rangers. So much so that when they did win the Stanley Cup, my dad let me play hooky from school, and we went to the ticker tape parade that was in Manhattan when they won. I got to see that live. Mark Messier holding up the Stanley Cup. Sports I'm not too into is like football, basketball. Like I want the Knicks to win the playoffs. I'll probably pay attention to it, but I'm not a huge basketball fan. It's fun to watch. Good games are fun to watch, but I'm just not a big basketball fan. Same with football. Good games are fun to watch, but I'm just not a big football fan. Don't like golf. Never really. I played tennis a little bit when I was a kid, but I never really took to it. It's all right. But for me, it's like it's if you count pro wrestling, soccer, baseball, and hockey right under baseball now, I think. And then like the other stuff is just like not even, just way down there. Creflo with another super chat. Did you see the clips of the I've Had It podcast? Two Oklahoma wine moms put Rahm Emanuel to the sword regarding trans issues. I did see that. Oh, I should have played. We'll get to it in another episode, but I did see that. Thank you for bringing it up. Good on them. If you get someone like that on your show, absolutely. And then do what they did. And then Creflo, another super chat. I'm not a baseball guy, but the Mets give me hipster and transplant vibes, replacing the Yankees in that aspect. What are you talking about? If you're a Mets fan, you got to be a true fan. Mets haven't won a World Series since 1986. Mets have not been a very good team for a very long time. Last time they made it to the World Series was 10 years ago, 2015, and they lost. The Yankees are like the fly-by-night team. If you're a Yankees fan, you're the Yankees fan because they won so many World Series. It's easy. Everyone wears a Yankees hat. You got to be a true Mets fan to actually like the Mets. Miss Heathen with a super chat. Guys, that's not Renee. He's been missing. That's an AI chat bot. And then that's it. Wow, a lot of super chats today, folks. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Helped make up for last Thursday when we didn't do a Leftist Mafia. But there's Leftist Mafia tomorrow. Don't miss it. Right here, youtube.com/Matt Binder, Leftist Mafia. Also, I'll be doing the Majority Report tomorrow because it's Emma Majority Report. So the usual Thursday crew will be there. I missed last Thursday. Well, they didn't do a Leftist Mafia because I wasn't going to be there, and Lance and David wanted to do the Canadian debate streams or whatever they did. But I missed it because one of my wife's favorite bands, both of them playing together, were in town. My wife, yep, Bright Eyes and Cursive. Cursive was good. Bright Eyes was okay. Bright Eyes has some good songs. I'm not big into them. They were good though. But Cursive was great. All right, who should I rate on Twitch? Let's see who's on. Maybe I'll just pick somebody too. USA Hole is the first person being recommended to me. I'm gonna Jay Cash with the last minute super chat. Matt isn't a Yankee because he's a secret Confederate. Yeah. That's me. All right, I'm going to raid USA Hole. Everyone, I'll see you tomorrow on Majority Report and Leftist Mafia. Stay safe, stay cool. Let's go Mets. And I can't believe they're the number one team in baseball right now. It's only April, but they're sitting atop the standings. It's unbelievable. All right, everyone. I'll see you all next time on Doomed.